Philadelphia 76ers pre- and post-game analyst on NBC Sports Philadelphia, Marc Jackson. He joins us now. And Marc, first off, welcome back to the show, my man. How you been?
I've been outstanding, guys. How have you all been?
We're all
Excellent.
good. It's a nasty day out there, but the Sixers playing maybe some of their best ball right now. And I guess my first question for you is, why is the team playing better without Jimmy Butler all of a sudden?
No, I think it's just repetitions. I think TJ came in, gave him some big defensive plays, some effort plays. Jonah Bolden had a good first half, and Landry Shamet also had some big shots. I just think they're starting to gel. I'm not sure they say because Jimmy Butler is out, but people have been playing good. I think it should continue if everything goes in the right path.
So, okay, he's been out a couple of games. They're winning those games, which is a good sign, but they were kind of like trying to stick him in and figure out how he fits. Do you think it's going to be an easy transition now the way they're playing just to kind of put him right in there and then this thing will really take off, or do you think we're going to have to see another period of kind of, clunkiness?
I think even though Jimmy is not playing in games, he's often in with little injuries here and there. I really believe by him being there, getting to see with the action, what's going on, I really even think the team is really flowing. And if you put him in place of Corey Brewer, who's still playing roughly the same amount of minutes as Jimmy would, it'd be an easy fit. Now, the question is, whether can people still shoot the lights out the ball like they've been doing the last couple of games?
You mentioned Landry Shamet, and I know that it's been spot moments when somebody like Jimmy Butler's been out or if they've been up big, but he, over the last week, maybe 2 weeks, he's gotten some pretty big minutes and also hit some pretty big shots. Can you see him, even if it is somebody getting in foul trouble, Mark, in the playoffs like Jimmy or JJ, can you see him now on his way, prepared to be able to be relied upon in the postseason?
I think they have to rely on him. I think because, first of all the starters cannot play 48 minutes, even though we would like for him to. He's going to get consistent minutes. Now, can he consistently put down shots? That's the question. When a team is really scheming for him for 7 games. That's the question, because I think he's going to get the same playing time and start off at the same amount of shots. I really think like Kuzma is out of the rotation. Furkan. Furkan is out of the rotation. Jonah Bolden, I think Jonah Bolden will still get some minutes here and there. And it's like, so I think he'll still get minutes. I think the minutes will be divided over less amount of people.
Mark, what do you make of Ben Simmons and, I guess for lack of a better word, the sporadicness of when he's looking for his shot that he's trying to develop and when he's not?
I don't know. But for me, that's been a consistent head scratcher for me.
Consistently inconsistent.
Sometimes he comes in, look like he wants to shoot the ball in the aggressive. Some games he just flat out doesn't shoot the ball at all. And I'm like, what's going through his thought process at those times? I'm really curious because of that. Because I think for this team to really go, I really think he needs to be aggressive. Because if he's aggressive, it's easier for him to do what he's doing in passing. Like he likes to distribute that ball. But it's harder for you to get passing lanes if you're not looking for your own shots and people denying the guys you're trying to pass to. He has to be more consistent.
Mark, what's been different? It's tough when we look at this team on a nightly basis, especially when they may go through a 2 or 3 game stretch looking like everything is working, and then because they're younger, they'll have a game or 2 maybe in a 5 or 6 game stretch where they don't look like that. So when you just look at a chunk, where we are right now at the end of January, over the last 2 months, where has this team significantly improved that gives you good hope heading into the postseason?
I think the defense has to be consistent. I think sometimes they get outshot. Like they beat the San Antonio Spurs, who shot 57% from the floor because they had some defensive stops when it counted. That was the biggest difference last year in the playoffs because Boston, they couldn't get stops. They came in with Bellinelli and Ilyasova, who Boston denied those guys from getting 3-point shots, and those guys could not guard Boston on the other side. The flip side of that is Sixers don't have as many prolific shooters, but they have a ton more of defensive guys who's able to get stops. And if they can be consistent with their defensive effort night in and night out, they can go a long way in the playoffs. Because I think offensively, with Jimmy, JJ, Joel, and Ben, I really believe that they have enough firepower offensively to get it done.
Yeah, Marc Jackson is with us. Mark, so we were kind of talking about that Boston series earlier. Do you think this team has closed the gap because of what you just said in terms of, yeah, maybe offensively they don't have these guys that can hit the big shots or a lot of threes, but because they defend better or they have more athleticism, that is enough to kind of close that gap? Or at this stage, do you still see the Bostons, the Torontos, and even throw in Milwaukee? Unfortunately, Oladipo going out might throw Indiana out, but are they still a step ahead of Philly, or has Philly closed the gap and surpassed anybody?
I think these next 4 games will really determine how much of a gap is closed between Philly and the rest of the Eastern Conference. But the Boston thing, they still going through ups and downs. Believe it or not, the little headaches, the little subtle comments under their breath, there's some turbulence going on in the Boston Celtics locker room. No matter what you say, no matter what the media might portray, it's some turbulence. Rozier wants to be the guy. Gordon Hayward is trying to find his way. Tatum wants to be the guy, but it's definitely Kyrie's team. And I don't think that whole team agrees with that. So I think they're going to be – I don't think they're ever going to catch their stride this year because of that. They have too many alpha dogs in one locker room and no one willing to accept the omega room. So I think the Sixers will have a significant advantage on Boston because of their chemistry. Toronto Raptors, I just think when they have a full roster, you just have to find a way to slow Kawhi down. And here's the upside. Kawhi can't guard everybody. So people will have an opportunity to score, just not the guy that Kawhi is guarding in that game, whether that be Ben, whether that be Jimmy, whether he might even try to guard Joel. But he can guard everyone, even though they got good defenders. But I really think that team will go through some lessons where they can't score a bucket in the playoffs. So I think the Sixers see eye to eye with them. Milwaukee, to me, at this point, I thought they would come back to reality. But Giannis is just carrying them so strongly that I don't know if they're ever going to come to reality. I mean, maybe this is them. Maybe this is Giannis leading them to the promised land.
Hey, Mark, speaking of getting to the promised land, a lot of people felt that one of the big things about the Sixers not being able to, at least get to the finals last year was the lack of athleticism, the ability to put the ball on the floor. You saw that exposed against the Celtics. They went out and got Wilson Chandler. I wanted to ask you it seems like he's finally starting to play a little bit better and giving that dimension to the team. Why do you think is it a case of just finally, being healthy and finding the right role for him?
Yes. A hamstring is nothing to mess with. Chris Paul will tell you that personally. So you must know what a hamstring. Remember, when you had a hamstring, there's not much conditioning you're going to do. So I think he's just starting to get in condition to handle the 30-some-odd minutes he's getting a game. I think he wasn't in shape. I think he's just starting to get in shape, and I think that's healthy. Plus, and he's starting to find where he's supposed to be on the court when his team is on there, when he's on that floor. I think that was still a learning, a figuring out process for him because he was coming here to maybe get his team 12 to 13 points a game, and that hasn't happened. He has to pretty much be strictly resided to a 3-and-D kind of player, and that's never been him. He's been a player who's been able to be like the 4th best player on the team, able to get some buckets here and there, who can create plays, and he hasn't really been able to do that with Ben handling the ball primarily and Jimmy Butler going his and Joel. So he's just learning how to get his shots in the Florida offense and primarily being a 3-and-D player.
Yeah, he seems like he's kind of finding his way as we're halfway through here. He's contributed a lot more than he did, even 2-3 weeks ago. But, Mark, what about Corey Brewer? Does he have a role in this team? Did they need that type of player? Did they kind of stumble upon a guy that gives them some grit, gives them some length, gives them some defense, gives them some leadership?
Yes, they stumbled on the Corey because I hate to say this, but I think Corey Brewer's a stopgap. I really believe that he's going to be here for just the amount of time to see what folks can give him. Unfortunately, I really do. And I think Corey Brewer has earned the right to be a part of this team for the year. He has to do a second 10-day. He does that second 10-day, and after 2, you cannot sign a third. If you want to play, you have to sign up for the rest of the year. So the good news for Corey Brewer is he's shown in 10 days that if he's not going to be on this playoff team, he'll be on another playoff team in about 2 weeks. So hopefully it could be in the 76 uniform. And I really believe he is a stopgap. I think that it give the 76 enough time to evaluate Markel Fultz to see if he will help them, if he can be put in the rotation, and if not, then he'll look to most likely sign Corey Brewer for a year.
Interesting, right? And then there was some news on Zaire Smith today. I guess he's going to go back to the Blue Coats and start at least doing some conditioning stuff. Maybe he's another guy come late February or whatever. We'll see. Marc Jackson, by the way, a belated happy birthday to you. I know you and Pete Thompson share a birthday. Mine is today, so me and you are like brothers.
Oh, happy birthday!
Well,
Happy birthday.
Mark, we were trying, but to no avail. We were trying to start the show today in honor of Mike Gill's birthday and you coming on and you being Mike's favorite analyst, and I say that with no hyperbole. We were trying to find a Marc Jackson jersey, signed jersey, but, it's very difficult to find a signed Marc Jackson jersey. Maybe we can get one over here for Gill. We'll throw it up in the studio.
This guy.
Oh, let's see. I think we can make it happen.
All right.
All right, Mark.
We love you, Mark.
We'll see you soon, pal.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.